Hey, how are you, Ben from the Hollywoods? Well, I've got a little video tonight that I'd like to get out there to you. And first of all, I'd like to tell you who I am. I've been an astrologer since I was about 21. I'm 69. I am a past life therapist, future life therapist, parallel lives, um, other planetary systems, other dimensions. I have a remote viewing team. I have a remote viewing group on Facebook. I've put about 270 videos that are unfiltered from NASA and ESA in Europe and Russia, and taking their filters off, taking the color and the contrast off, made it possible to see what's going on by zooming in and clarifying the images in Photoshop. The fact of the matter is, every single planet in the solar system is packed with life. And I think as far as the eye can see, life is everywhere. Human life predominant. But there are giants, people with triangular heads, a lot of bald-haired people, a lot of different black races, some small with square heads, some very African Negro looking, some look like Arabs with Arab-type outfits. You have little teeny wizards all over the place, and billions of little humanoids. They're more like squirrels, but they're humanoid, but they eat their young. So, out there, if you were to get dropped off on Mars, it wouldn't be a good idea. Um, the remote viewing we've been doing, which can be accessed on mystical humanoids on Facebook, or just Google mystical humanoids in the discussion section, and you can tune in to a regular ongoing dialogue from myself, David Bottomley, and a few others, to a woman on Venus who seems to be like well, I guess she would be like CIA or something like that, but not official and negative like the CIA has the handle of. And we have a professor who's a dwarf who works in a building that's a tall cross, which is available on one of my Jupiter videos. And we remote viewed him and picked him up, and he has become an interplanetary source. We put him together with the woman on Venus, which was long desired contact. We did it for them. They're tremendously thankful. And David and I now have an ongoing triangulated conversation with these people. And David has brought in even more, because David has the ability to perceive and peel off dimensions and go inside. He's a very talented guy. He lives outside of London, about 100 miles north. You need a reading, he does past life work, everything. Anyway, so the conclusions that we're getting are, there's a lot of, you don't have to be very bright to figure out there's international trade and interplanetary trade, but some of the startling facts are, the planets don't seem to be Star Trek-y at all. Maybe a long way off there's some Star Trek-like planets, but they all seem to be going through similar problems. Uranus is in a rehabilitation state with new white, crystalline, cheap construction-looking buildings going up next to what looks like old German Bavarian chalets. That's on Uranus. And if you look at my Uranus videos, I think there's 6 of them, you can see a professor with his students on a mountaintop with these very same buildings in the backdrop. Also a picture of a guy who appears to look like a rabbi with his wife, but I doubt whether he's a rabbi, but he's dressed that way. On Mars, we have a close-up on our latest Mars video, a close-up of 2 policemen over what looks like a bum, and 2 wizard dwarfs standing there with their tall hats, and a couple of other peculiar people popping their heads out of caves. Now you might ask, in all these videos, why so many people visible? Well, I think the rocket's noisy and they come out to see it because they're all looking toward the camera, so what else could it be? But the information, last night I was particularly kind of annoyed. This is September 29th, 2010, and I was listening to George Norrie, Coast to Coast, the show handed over by Art Bell. Art Bell, Air Force announcer for 20 years, took on the UFO business, grabbed it from George Knapp in Las Vegas, and with the power and the money of the Air Force was able to subvert and take it over, and George Norrie's got it. George Norrie and some of the others are keeping it a secret. They know there's life on Mars. Last night, Richard Hoagland, who he's just too disgusting to even describe. He was stating that there's actually artifacts scattered on Mars, when he knows darn well there's people there. All the pictures and all the tools that he's been working with, he got from Dave Beamer. Dave Beamer, one of the originals, who really brought to light all these buildings on Mars and the moon. And he's got all those pictures, and Dave, humble as he is not stepping forward and saying, hey, that's my data that this guy's getting rich on. Dave's a Christian, so, turn the other cheek, and get me out. You know how that works. So he bought it, a lot of people buy it, and I see the crosses on Jupiter, I see the crosses on Venus. I've remote viewed Jesus more than one time, and he's an ambassador, plain and simple every time. He's an ambassador, a shapeshifter, and he goes around the worlds and they propagate that similar myth. As you know, if you've seen the movie Zeitgeist on Religion, that Jesus is a perpetuated myth every 200 or 300 years. There were about 8 or 9 Jesuses, all the stories identical. Same goes for Moses. A lot of bullshit. Anyway, so I felt really obligated to let you know that there's a life everywhere. We're remote viewing several people. It's expanding. We need you to expand and join us on a matrix, a time or a place, or just generally creating an etheric bridge to other worlds. Because if you let your pineal gland open up, eat a bunch of olives and relax and meditate, connect a bridge, soon you'll connect a bridge to people on the earth who are advanced, to people on the other planets who are advanced, and the Tower of Babel will collapse. Love you guys.
Lottie plays with Jane, Jane plays with Willie, Willie is happy again. Suki plays with Leo, Sasha plays with Brit. Adam builds a bonfire, and Rico plays with it. Whistling tunes, we hide in the dunes by the seaside. Whistling tunes, we piss on the dunes in the jungle. It's a knockout. If looks could kill, they probably will. Games without frontiers, war without tears. If looks could kill, they probably will. Games without frontiers, war without tears. Games without frontiers, war without tears. War without tears. War without tears. War without tears. Andre has a red flag, shine Jesus blue. They all have bills to fly them on, except for you. Dressing up in costumes, playing silly games, hiding out in treetops, shouting out rude names.